What's up guys, Tyzzer here, episode 7 coming right at ya. This time around we're doing common matchups and itemization. So, common matchups. These are the most common matchups that I have come across. If you feel that I've missed someone out, then have no fear. What I'm going to do is I'm going to do another series that is basically every matchup in top lane that you could possibly come across, as far as I consider a top laner. So what I'm going to be doing is, these are just the common matchups here. What I'm going to do is a second season thing, and I'm going to just put every single matchup like a 5-minute video-ish guide of how to play that matchup. Not how to win it, because how you win it is how the other person plays as well. I'm going to be saying how you play the matchup, as in how you can survive and how you can possibly win it. But I can't tell you exactly how to win, because you never know. Someone maybe have played Renekton 1,000 times and you've played Riven 100 times. He's probably more experienced in that matchup, so he will know a lot more about the matchup than you. So it's how to play the matchup and avoid, say, dying and getting to where you need to be, to a position where you're useful and you're relevant within the game. So without further ado, we'll get into the first common matchup, Darius. So Darius, he's pretty high damage. He can do a lot of damage early game. If you try to engage on him, he can pull you back. So if you engage, blow your abilities, you try to leave, he'll pull you back, and he'll just do a lot of damage in general. And what you kind of want to do in this matchup is you want to make sure that Darius uses his spin, which is his decimate Q. If he uses that, you can then go in for a trade, because it has quite a considerable cooldown at level 1. His apprehend, which is his pull, which is his E. That's what he re-engages with. So if you go in, try to trade with him, he hits his Q, you go to back out because you've used all of your abilities, he'll E you back in, and then you probably lose the trade in that. So you want to make sure that his Q is down. His E isn't that important, but Q is the most important, to make sure that it's been used, because that's what will out trade you. You can beat Darius at level 6. Just make sure that you're not low health when you fight him, because his ult does true damage, and that will completely obliterate you if you're at low health. He'll just say do a full combo and ult you, then you're dead. If you're really having trouble against Darius, I would say max E. Max E, because the shield will help you immensely through his bleed and just his general damage. So what I take in this matchup versus Darius, I take longsword 3 pots, flash, and ignite. I take ignite so I can duel with the Darius. I take obviously the longsword and 3 pots to sustain in the lane. Fiora. Right, so Fiora, as most of you may know, is pretty annoying. She's one of those champions that just, she can all in you, and she's a bit like Riven, but I would say less mechanical reliant. I would say, because Fiora can just say Q auto, Q like Q E auto W auto Q, like I wouldn't want to go into her combos, but she can do a lot of damage within like 1 second, just because she builds straight AD. And since you will build straight AD as well, it's really a really snowbally lane. Whoever normally gets the first blood in this matchup will win, just because of their pure burst, of their pure kill potential in lane. What you want to do against Fiora is you want to predict her W riposte. That will reflect 1 auto attack back at you with a set magic damage thrown back at you. So if you're able to predict this, it looks like a little shield around her, like a frontal shield around her when she uses it. Use your abilities, and when she puts that up, you can continue to use abilities, but don't auto attack her. If you auto attack Fiora during this time where she presses her W to put the shields up that reflects an auto, you will lose the trade, because she blocks an auto attack and she deals damage to you, where she's getting free damage on you. Fiora is kind of like Riven, as I said, she's an all-in champion, but she doesn't have any escapes like Riven does. In a sense, like Riven has her 3 Qs and her E for an escape. Fiora doesn't have any of those. She has no form of CC either. The only way the Fiora can really escape is if she uses her Q, which is a dash. She can use that to dash to like hostile or neutral minions that she can get to get away. What I take in this match is Durand Blades and a health pot. Obviously for the early game, you're probably going to be skirmishing with her a lot. Flash and ignite, flash, standard. Ignite because you're going to want to be fighting her a lot. Garen has a silence. Riven hates silences. Garen's decisive strike Q is his silence. It's a 1.5 second silence at level 1. So that's pretty devastating at level 1. What you want to do against Garen is you want to, when he uses his Q, his decisive strike, to come and hit you with it, you want to kite back and either wait until he uses it on a minion or until it expires, and then you can trade with him. But then again, Garen does have his E, which is pretty annoying as well. It's just the spin to win, as people call it, because it does have quite high base damage. So playing against Garen is waiting for an opportunity until his Q is down, and then trying to trade with him. If you're losing against Garen, I would consider buying a Hex Drinker, because his ult does magic damage based on your missing health. So if he's going to kill you with his ult and you have a Hex Drinker, you'll survive because of the Hex Drinker shield. If his damage is bigger than the Hex Drinker shield and your health combined, then yeah, you're going to die. But it's better to be on 200 health, have a Hex Drinker and survive, than be on 200 health and die. What Garen normally does do in this matchup is he rushes armor. So you might want to rush a Last Whisper as well. What I take against Garen is Longsword 3 pots for the sustain in lane. You want to try and hit Garen every time his passive comes back up. I take Flash and Teleport just because this lane, you outscale Garen. So as long as you can keep farming and get above him and not give him any kills, you will outscale Garen. Gnar. So Maxi in this matchup, because Gnar's Q has a lot of poke, and then his passive on his W has the magic damage percentage base health. So you want to max E in this matchup. Don't fight Gnar in his mega form, because he gains bonus armor, magic resist, and attack damage. He gains more as he levels up, so you don't really want to be fighting him as he's in Mega Gnar form. You want to only fight him in Mini Gnar form because he's very squishy. When trying to fight Gnar, what you want to do is you want to bait out his hop, his E. What that will do is it's got a very long cooldown at the lower levels, so when he uses his hop, he's very vulnerable. Most Gnars just walk back in because they think that they're safe. Like, they've hopped away, you've used your abilities, you just walk away. That Gnar's not going to be very... like, most Gnars come back in. Some Gnars who main Gnar or something will stay back because they know that they know the matchup. They know you'll come back in. So when he uses his hop, that's your chance to all in him. What I take against Gnar is Longsword 3 health pots to just sustain in the lane, Flash and TP. TP because Gnar has a lot of poke and you're going to be using shield. You just really want to farm this out, and you can beat Gnar as long as you don't fight him in Mega Gnar form. Yeah. Also, sorry, forgot to mention, don't fight him when he's near transforming. If you can kill him, yeah, sure. But if he's like 70% health and you can burst him to 20% health and then he's going to transform, I would not fight him. Don't fight Gnar when he's about to transform. Irelia. Now this is a matchup that we all love. This matchup is a very skill-based matchup. So, Irelia's E will stun you if it's an equilibrium strike. That will stun you if she is a lower percentage health than you are. So when you're fighting her, try to be lower health than her so she can't stun you with her E. Irelia is very weak early game, pre-6, so you can fight her and bully her pretty hard. If she has flasks, like a flask and potion, it's not good to bully her, because if you bully her and fight her, she can trade with you pretty well. She'll lose the trade, but she'll have the sustain to out-sustain you in the lane. So the best thing to do is check her items. If she's got like a Duran's Blade, Longsword, Duran's Shield, you can bully her. But if she's got flasks and potions, you will need to just farm it out and just harass her when you can, but make sure you don't take too much damage back. Irelia's burst is level 6, lower than yours. It is a lot lower than yours, because she has 4 blades which do considerable amount of damage, about 100 damage each. Obviously minus resistances and stuff is a little lower, but that's 4 of those, where your ult does a maximum of, like, a level 1 will do a maximum of 360 base damage at level 1. So it's pretty huge, So what you want to do against Irelia is when you want to all in her at level 6, You want to make sure you're lower health than her, and then you can all in her. Because what you can do is you can bait out her stun or her E. So you dash in, and because you're lower health and she panics, she'll use her E and she'll just slow you, and then that's a free kill from there. Make sure you hit your second proc of your ult, your wind slash, because it's absolutely critical in this matchup. Normally, if you miss the wind slash and you and Irelia are even in fighting, you'll probably lose the matchup. Because if you use it to go in on her and she hasn't used her ult or anything, and then you go in and you don't kill her, she'll just sustain back up with her ult and probably kill you back. You want to be careful of low minions versus Irelia, because Aurelia's Q, Blade Surge, will reset when you... Aurelia's Blade Surge Q will reset when she kills a minion with it. So what she can do is, if you're standing next to a low health minion, she'll dash to that, she'll stun you, attack you, and then Q you again, and then Q you. It's because she got the reset from the minion, she doesn't have to wait for the cooldown. So be careful when you're around low health minions. What I take in this matchup is Duran's Blade, health pot, just for the health and stuff. You need health versus Irelia because of her true damage, and obviously the health pot for sustain. Flash, standard, ignite, because I want to duel Irelia. Jarvan. So, the Jarvan matchup is pretty cheesy, if you ask me. It's he has a lot of early game damage. So, what you want to do is you want to dodge Jarvan's EQ combo, which is his flag and drag. He places a flag down as a must in standard, and then he can Q towards that, which is he sort of jabs with his spear in quite a long range. That does quite a lot of damage and it reduces your armor. This also, if he does the EQ combo, it knocks you up, which gives him time to get free autos. So be very careful and try to dodge this. Jarvan's passive does 10% of your max health damage on the next auto attack every 10 seconds at level 1 to 6, 8 seconds at 7 to 12, and 6 seconds at 13 to 18. So try to keep a mental timer on that. Every time he auto attacks you, that's 10% of your max health. That's pretty huge. It's pretty huge. If you have 1,000 health, he does 100 extra physical damage on his next auto attack just because of his passive, and he can outtrade you really heavily because of this. Jarvan will try to proc this on you every time he can, so try not to get say if he does the EQ knock-up combo, he'll get a free auto in, and then you've just taken a lot of extra damage. The Q does reduce your armor from Jarvan, so try to dodge that. That is very critical. Jarvan does gain a lot of burst at level 6. If you're able to dodge his EQ, because that's what he normally engages with, he uses his EQ to knock you up, get an auto attack, reduce your armor, and then ult you, and then you're probably dead at that point. But this is why it's important to dodge that EQ combo. As you can see on screen, Jarvan, when it hits when he hits his Q, it has an armor reducing effect, and if you dodge this, you'll reduce his overall damage. What I take against Jarvan is a longsword, 3 pots, flash, and ignite because I want to duel him. Jax. So, Jax matchup is pretty back and forth. It really depends on who knows more about the other champion. Skill-based matchup. Jax has a counter-strike E, and it dodges all auto attacks that you will hit him during him using his counter-strike. Sort of like a helicopter thing. So, it stuns at the end of the duration, or if he reactivates it. So, try to dodge this, and you will save yourself from getting a lot of harass on you. Say if he's to counter strike and then stun you, he can get a free auto W and then just Q out, so you can't trade with him. So be careful when he uses his counter strike, because you don't want to get stunned. If he does jump on you with his counter strike, use your shield to dodge and block the damage that he will do to you, and then just get away from him, because you do not want that stun to hit you. If that stun hits you, he will outtrade you heavily, really heavily. You need to watch out for Jax's level 6. The reason why you need to watch out for Jax's level 6 is because every third auto, his passive makes him do a lot of magic damage on the third proc. You don't want to get hit by this, so watch Jax. He'll hit the minions once, twice, and then he'll wait around and then try to jump on you, because he wants to proc that third auto attack on you, and then possibly do some more damage against you with W and that. So when Jax is level 6, you do need to be careful, because he does outscale you quite heavily. So to get Jax down and to be able to beat Jax, You need to play the matchup well. It's a pretty difficult matchup if you don't know how to play it well, or like if you don't know what to do properly. If the Jax knows what he's doing, he will he will beat the Riven. It's just because you need to dodge the stun, bait it out, and then once his stun's gone, it's got a pretty long cooldown. You want to go back in on him and do a lot of damage, trade with him. It's just that his counter strike, the stun, is mainly what makes him beat you in this matchup. But if you play smart, you dodge that, and you are able to snowball off of, say, him making a mistake or something, you can keep him down pretty hard. But if you do let Jax farm, he will outscale you sooner or later within the game. I take Longsword 3 pots against Jax, Flash is standard, Ignite because I want to be dueling him. Jayce. So, if you're having trouble against Jayce because he does have a ranged form and quite a lot of ranged moves, try maxing E. And that's the shield. You want to max that because he'll be harassing you a lot. Jayce's hammer form, Thundering Blow, which is his E, is the only form of disengage from you. When you go in on him, he'll change to hammer form and smack you away with his hammer. So that's literally the only way he can stop you from going all in on him. So what you want to do is try to sort of fake it out, pretend like you're going in. He'll use his E to get you to go away from him, and then you can just walk away, and then you can go back in on him. And he has no way of escaping apart from flashing. So Riven snowballs really well against Jayce, because if you get like 1 or 2 kills against him, if you rush Brutalizer, CDR boost, if you've gone for my build, you will have, say, my runes and masteries, you will have 40% CDR as soon as you finish those 2 items. And that is really good against Jayce, because his E has a considerable high cooldown in hammer form at lower levels. So he can only disengage like every 12 seconds, and your cooldowns are going to be up every like 8 seconds, so he can't really disengage from you. You go in, he'll knock you back, he'll be like, okay, I'm fine, and then 5 seconds later you're already back on his face and he has to flash. So rush, brutalize the CDR boots and TM out against Jayce if you're ahead. I take Longsword and 3 pots for the sustain in lane, flash, and I take TP because I know I can kill Jayce without ignite. Nasus, this one a lot of people have been asking for. So you need to bully Nasus levels 1 to 3 because he can't trade back at all. Even levels 4 to 5, he can't trade with you. Level 6, he does gain his ult, so he can save himself from your burst and your ult. So if you're about to ult him at 200 health, he'll ult and he won't die because you didn't do enough damage. But yeah, Nasus has no trading ability levels, say, 1 to 5. Honestly, unless he withers you, he doesn't really have any trading ability. So you can bully the hell out of Nasus really, really early and possibly get a kill if he makes a mistake. Try to keep Nasus under control. So every time he goes to stack his Q, punish him. If he goes forward to Q a minion, go on him. Like, be like, get away from that minion. Get a bad dog. Bad dog. Get away from that minion. That's what you want to do. You want to make sure that you stop him from stacking up his Q. If you do let him do this, he will slowly outscale you because his Q damage will get more every time he stacks it, and he'll just get tankier and tankier. Nasus normally rushes a Last Whisper. A Last Whisper. Excuse me. Nasus normally rushes a Frozen Heart, so you want to rush a Last Whisper. There we go, I got it right. Nasus normally rushes a Frozen Heart, so you want to get a Last Whisper. This will help you with trading with him. The point at where you won't be able to fight Nasus anymore is once he has completed, say, Frozen Heart and Randuin's and has about 300 stacks. That is at the point where you probably don't want to be fighting him anymore, because he'll just ult and just Q you to death, even with shields. But if you're really far ahead, you can. But Nasus just really, he slowly outscales Riven. If the game goes on for 60 minutes, don't go near Nasus. But yeah, I take Longsword 3 pots, flash, and ignite. I take ignite because obviously bully Nasus and can kill him early. Pantheon. Maxi against Pantheon because his spear shot has like a 4-second cooldown throughout all ranks, and he'll just whittle you down and kill you slowly. Play safe against Pantheon. The reason why I say this is he will spear you. He'll spear the hell out of you. So you want to max E, and you want to only go in when your shield is up. It's okay to sacrifice CS when facing Pantheon, but you need to judge whether losing 100 health is worth getting 1 minion, which most of the time it's not really worth it. So what you want to do against Pantheon is you want to go in and CS every time your shield is up. Your shield is on a 10-second cooldown at level 1 when you have no CDR, but if you have, say, 15 CDR at level 1 due to your runes and masteries, it should be on a roughly about an 8-second cooldown. So you should be able to get, every time he spears you twice, you can go in for CS. And also, keep an eye on Pantheon's mana, because he needs that to throw spears. If he has no mana, or only has enough mana to throw one spear, you can go in and you can bully him, because otherwise he's only got auto attacks. So it doesn't matter if you miss minions, as I said. Just experience is really important in this lane. So make sure you just stay near the minions, stay safe, don't die to Pantheon. Just level up till level 6. You can all in level Pantheon at level 6. You can all in Pantheon at level 6 because he gains no combat bonuses at level 6. He gains his ult, but he's not really going to stand there while you're beating on him and use his ult, is he? Because you can just stun him and then he wasted his ult. So yeah, Pantheon gains no 1v1 potential at level 1, like face to face. That's level 6, sorry, face to face. So you can go all in him. You can all in him at level 6, but make sure you're not like 10% health, because he'll just spear you and kill you. Make sure you're roughly about the same amount of health, and then you can all in him at level 6. Don't die to Pantheon. That's one tip. Don't die to Pantheon. He snowballs really hard because of his early game scalings, and he scales really well with AD and armor pen. So do not die to Pantheon, because he will snowball really hard. Renekton. Renekton. Renekton's early game. He is a very big lane bully. He can punish you very hard if you make really hard mistakes. I would say Renekton is probably the hardest matchup. Garen's pretty hard and brainless, but Renekton matchup is, if you've got an equally skilled Renekton versus an equally skilled Riven, Renekton should, and none of them make mistakes. If no player makes mistakes and they're equally skilled, the Renekton will always win. So Renekton sometimes will start with his Cold the Meat, which is his Q, AoE spin. You can start Q and trade with him pretty easily. If he starts Ruthless Predator, which is his W, which can stun you, you want to start E because you want to play safe, because he will deal a lot of damage to you. He'll auto stun and you've lost half of your health. So you want to be careful with that. Renekton's level 2 is really strong. Especially if he has 50 Fury. If he has 50 Fury, he can flash, stun, ignite, Q you, and you're probably dead. His level 2 is insanely strong. So against Renekton, you want to play very safe, unless he's, say, like 30% health and you're 70% health, then you can sort of bully him because he can't come near you without getting killed. But yeah, you want to be very safe against Pantheon's level 2. If you're even with Renekton at level 6, you can all in him. If you're even in CS and stuff, and you play the matchup nicely and you don't die to him, you can all in him at level 6. You want to bait out his stun. So if you all in him or something, you want to try and bait out his stun, or even bait out his stun before you all in him. So like just go into trade with him, E away, he'll use his stun, and his stun's got a very long cooldown at lower levels. So if you bait that out, then you can all in him straight after his stun has run out. And that is a free kill. I believe I showed you that in episode 1, where Renekton was ahead of me. He used his stun, I went in, I got a free kill. I take longsword 3 pots versus Renekton, just for the sustaining lane. Flash, ignite, because I want to be dueling him. Rengar. Rengar. Rengar will try to abuse brushes. Yes, he will. He will just constantly jump. And he will stack his ferocity every time he jumps, if he uses an ability when he jumps. So what you want to do is, every time Rengar jumps, and he doesn't have 3 or more ferocity, because he can charge that up really quickly from 3, he'll just use 2 abilities, and then he'll be able to burst you. But yeah, if he's got 1 or 2 ferocity, you can trade with him pretty hard when he jumps. So punish him for jumping and getting out of position. Use your shield to dodge Rengar's Bowler Strike. It does considerable amount of physical damage, so it also slows you. It will root you if he's got 5 ferocity, so you want to dodge that, and you don't want to get hit by that, because he'll just keep using that and slowly whittle you down. You'll deny him a stack of ferocity, and you won't take damage. So use your E to dodge these. You can beat Rengar at level 6 pretty easily if you're even in lane, just because his ult just gives him invis. the only thing he can really do is when you all in him, he just invises and runs away. Unless he comes back. But yeah, you can all in and kill Rengar pretty easily at level 6 if you're even in lane. I take longsword and health pots for the sustainer stuff in lane. Flash and TP because I know I can kill Rengar without ignite. Sion. The brick wall that is the new Sion. You need to kill him early, definitely. It's because he's just going to stack armor. Sion is an armor stacking machine. Late game, he literally just doesn't die to AD. So what you want to do is you want to use your shield, your E, to dodge Sion's Decimating Smash Q, which is when he has his axe smashed down, and his Roar of the Slayer, which is he'll roar at a minion and it will go through all of your minions and try to hit you. So you want to dodge these because they do quite a lot of damage. If you're getting harassed out of lane and stuff with E and just in general losing the lane, consider buying a Hex Drinker because not most Sions max E because of the magic damage and harass that it does. So you want to max E, and sorry, you don't want to max E. You want to rush a Hex Drinker to stop most of that damage, because Hex Drinker will give you the shield and it will allow you to have the magic resist against it. You can max E in this matchup, because that was something I was just thinking of. You can max E in this matchup if you're really having trouble, but it's really how you want to play it. You can try to kill him early, but if you're really having trouble, definitely max E, because it lowers the cooldown and you can survive the lane a lot more. Sion will rush armor, so you're going to have to rush a Last Whisper against him. I take longsword and 3 pots for the sustaining lane, flash and TP because you can't really kill Sion. You're just going to want to be farming it out. Wukong. You can trade with Wukong at level 1 because he only has 1 ability, and you have 3 technically. That's if you do go Q. So you can trade with him pretty easily at level 1. Don't fight him when he's near a lot of minions because you will take minion aggro and he probably will win the trade. Wukong does have a lot of damage at level 2 if he goes like a QE or EQ, because his Q has armor reduction on it. If you go W at level 2, you could try to kill Wukong. You could go E if you want to play passive. If Wukong's beating you through the level 1, go E because you want to play passive so he doesn't kill you. If Wukong is losing to you, you can go W and attempt to try and kill Wukong at level 2. As I said on the screen, as it says on the screen, W is more risky. Make sure you're at a higher percentage health if you actually go W, because you don't want to be 30% health, Wukong's 50, you go W, and then you would have lived if you used a shield instead. So if you want to play more safe, go E. You want to play risky, go W. Wukong will use his decoy, which is his W, to juke and escape you. It makes him go invisible, and he places a fake Wukong clone where he last was. So you want to be careful when you're all inning him, because if you all in him, you blow everything, you use your Wind Slash, and you don't kill him, but you kill the clone. He's just juked you. He's juked your Wind Slash because he went invisible. So when Wukong does use his W, try to wait about a bit and try to predict where he's going to walk, and then go in that direction. And then if you guess correctly, you can continue to all in him because he can't really do much after that. He has no escapes apart from if he flashes or if he E's to an enemy minion to get distance away from you. But E is his only real way of escaping or juking you when you all in him. I take longsword and 3 health pots for the sustaining lane, flash and ignite for when because I want to do Wukong. Kennen. You want to max E in this matchup because he is ranged. Most ranged and AP matchups you're going to be maxing E. So that's a step for all these matchups. Max E in this matchup because Kennen can harass you throughout the laning phase. He has autos that he can proc when every 4th auto, and he can press W for the lightning sort of like a thunder shock. He can Q you, he can E over you, he can stun you, he does a lot, so shield will help you in this matchup. Kennen can easily disengage from your all-ins with his lightning rush, which he turns into like a little thunderball and then runs away. So it has quite a considerable high cooldown at lower levels, so try to bait this out. Try to like go near him, scare him, make him use his E, and then once he comes back in, you can go into him. Rushing a Hex Drinker is optimal, definitely, because he has a lot of burst damage, he can stun you, and all of his stuff is magic damage. So I take longsword, 3 health pots for sustain. I take flash and TP because I'm going to be harassed crap ton in this lane. So I want to use TP because if I'm getting harassed down and he's playing the match correctly, I will be at low health most of the time, so I can use TP to get back to lane and stay healthy. Lissandra. So this one is really annoying. I hate this matchup. Maxi in this matchup because Lissandra has low cooldowns. She can harass you through the minions, and she gets a free spell from her passive every 18 seconds, and then it reduces by 1 second every time she hits something with an ability. So Lissandra can stop the flow of your combo with her W. If you're going QQE, she'll root you with her W, Ring of Frost, and you're just stuck there for 1 second. And it does, Lissandra's W scales, the root scales per level, per rank of the ability. So it does get pretty annoying. You want to try and bait this out. So you want to try and go near her, fake it, bait out her W, and then walk away, and then go back in on her. So this matchup, Hexdrinker is probably your best friend because she will be harassing you a lot. She will, most of the time, just go cooldown reduction with the mana regen, Morellonomicon. So they will be throwing a lot of icicle shards at you. So yeah, Maxi, rush Hexdrinker, bait out the W. Once she's used W, you can go in on her. What you want to do as well is when she uses her E to escape, try to stunlock her while she's pressed E to escape. Because she can't press E again when she's stunlocked, can she? So that's a free kill if you do that. Longsword, 3 health pots to sustain in the lane. Flash, teleport, because it's a really harassy lane, and I'm gonna be poked a ton. Malphite, the rock that is. Against Malphite, you can either max E because he's gonna be harassing you and you just can't kill him because he's a big rock, or you can max Q to attempt to bully him out of lane. You can try and bully him out of lane. Malphite is Malphite. He's an anti-AD, so he will rush armor anyway. So you're going to want to buy a Last Whisper early. If you hit level 6 before Malphite, you can all-in him. Just make sure you're at a reasonable amount of health when doing it, because he's got attack speed, slows and everything. And the river warded, because if he hits 6 while you're all-inning him, and the jungler comes, he'll just turn, ult you, and then, well, you'd probably die at that point unless you have flash. So you want to be careful against Malphite. I take longsword, 3 pots, flash, TP, because Malphite's very tanky, and if Malphite goes flasks and health pots, he will out sustain you due to him being tanky. Maokai, the tree. So you don't want to go barking up this tree. So Maokai's passive gets charged every time you use Q, because you use Q 3 times. Maokai's passive is every time an ability is used near him, he gains a charge of his passive. And once those charges have been reached its cap, which is 4 or 5, when he next auto attacks, he gains a percentage of his maximum health. So try not to use Qs randomly, because you'll just give him free heals. Maokai really has no 1v1 potential until he gets some levels and items. So you can bully him really early, say level 1 to 3, even 4, even level 6, because yes, he has damage reduction with his ult, but you can still kill him pretty easily when he has that on. The longer you're in lane with Maokai, the more he will out sustain you. This is due to his passive. You want to try and get him low and then kill him before his passive is able to heal him back up. Otherwise, you're probably gonna have a hard time because he's just gonna out heal you. You want to be careful of Maokai's Arcane Smash, which is his Q knock-up. It will slow you if you're away from him and it reaches you, but if you're directly surrounded him, it will knock you up. This can stop the flow of your combo, and if you're mid-third Q, it will stop that and you won't deal the damage or the knock-up for the third Q. I take longsword, 3 health pots versus a Maokai. I take flash and TP because I can kill Maokai without ignite, and also if he out-sustains me, I can get back to lane. Nidalee. So Nidalee has a lot of damage throughout the game. Currently, she's pretty strong in the current patch. During the laning phase versus Nidalee, you want to get E. Like you want to go E at level 1, because she will be auto-attacking you and trying to Q you and do like she'll try and get you down really low because she wants to try to kill you. Some Nidalees go TP because they know they can kill you. Some Nidalees go ignite because they want to kill you. So depending on how the lane is going, if you're getting harassed down a lot, max E. If you're able to dodge all of her harass, she's not really harassing you a lot, and you can go in on her a lot, max Q. Use your E to shield her auto attacks and dodge spears and things like that. Against Nidalee, because she has quite low cooldowns and Cougar form, you want to rush CDR, because you can combat against her. You can do multiple rotations while she's trying to fight you. You can dodge her stuff with shields. So rush CDR versus Nidalee. Nidalee gains 0 combat stats at level 6. She gains the stuff, actually the stats in Cougar form, but she doesn't gain any like increase in damage from her her Q or anything. She gains base stats, but she doesn't gain, like, she doesn't have an ability which does damage like yours. Like at level 6 she doesn't like level up and rank up an ability and then do an extra 200 damage with a wind slash. So level 6 you can all in Nidalee. Make sure you do dodge her abilities, because if she marks you she will do a lot of damage. So try to dodge Nidalee's abilities. You can all in her at level 6. I take longsword 3 pots just to sustain and have the longsword. Flash, because standard flash. Teleport, well, I use teleport because I know I can kill Nidalee without ignite, and she's going to be harassing you a lot in lane. Rumble, Rumble, Rumble. Max E in this matchup, if you are really having trouble, it's because Rumble will have a flamethrower. It's a 6-second cooldown, and it lasts for 3 seconds. So technically it's only got a 3-second cooldown. So he'll just flamethrower you every 3 seconds, and it does do a lot of, it has high base damages, especially if he's going magic pen. So max shield if you're having trouble in this matchup. Most AP matchups obviously get a Hex Drinker in this. When Rumble's heat is 50 or over, his abilities have extra damage and effects, so try to dodge these. I know it's pretty hard to dodge Q when it's an AoE cone, so just try to get out of it when he uses it. So once again, 50 heat, his abilities have extra sort of effects, like his Q does 50% more damage, his W has a 50% more shield, and I think the E has double the slow. So try to dodge those. When Rumble overheats, you can all in him, since he can't, well, he's silenced. When Rumble overheats, he's silenced. He can't use any of his abilities. So you want to all in him, and the only thing he can do is auto attack you. You do need to be careful of his auto attacks, because they do extra bonus magic damage, and it's quite a bit of magic damage. But you can negate that quite heavily with a Hex Drinker, and you can all in him once he overheats. I take a longsword 3 pots in this matchup, flash, and I take TP, because I know I can kill Rumble without ignite. Ryze, so start E against Ryze. Ryze is ranged, he has a lot of poke, so max E, if you're having trouble. You can start E against Ryze just because of the poke, and then you can go Q or something, because Ryze's only way to stop you is with his Room Prison, which is his W. If you are having trouble getting poked down by Ryze, max E and rush a Hex Drinker. But other than that, you can pretty much bait out his W pretty easily by walking towards him. He'll just walk away, use his W, and then you can go all in on him when he comes back in. So Ryze, max E if you're having trouble, rush Hex Drinker. I take longsword, 3 health pots for the sustain in lane, flash and TP because I know I can kill Ryze without ignite. Vladimir, this is the last common matchup before we go into the itemization. So you can bully Vlad really early. He is completely cooldown based, exactly like Riven. So because he's ranged as well, and he's sort of has a lot of harass and ranged abilities, you can max E and rush a Hex Drinker if you're really having trouble against him. Vladimir's Sanguine Pool, which is his W, makes him go into the ground, a pool of blood, and makes him untargetable. So when you go to all in him, be very careful of this, because if you wind slash and he hasn't used his Sanguine Pool, he can duck as you use it and he'll completely dodge all of the damage from it, or even he could dodge your 3rd Q so he doesn't get knocked up. So be very careful when you're all-inning Vlad, because he can dodge your abilities with the Sanguine Pool. I go longsword 3 pots, flash and TP because I know I can kill Vladimir without ignite. So itemization and paths. So the main items you want to build on Riven, the core build that you really want to buy on Riven, is like Brutalizer is what you want to get first, and Ionian Boots is normally what you want to get second. But you could go say Brutalizer into a Tiamat, then into Ionian Boots, and then Hydra. But you're normally like you want to go depending on the matchup. Say for example I told you a couple of those matchups like Jayce, you want to go Brutalizer, Ionian Boots, then into Tiamat, because you want to rush CDR. Nidalee, you want to rush CDR, so you want to get Brutalizer and Ionian Boots. What you can do, Hydra is a core item because you can animation cancel with the Hydra with a lot of Riven's abilities, so that is definitely your #1 core item. Brutalizer and Ionian are your starter, say early to mid game items, and then depending on how you're doing and depending on the enemy team, you want to go either Youmuu's or Black Cleaver. You want to go Black Cleaver. Black Cleaver is probably the better one because it gives you health, it gives you the armor reduction, and it gives you a bit more AD. But it's like more dueling potential and more like team fight presence. I would say it's more team fight presence than dueling. The Youmuu's is more 1v1 situations because of the crit, the movement speed, and the attack speed. It's more the movement speed than anything, just because you can chase and catch targets even when they're trying to escape. Even if they flash, with Youmuu's pops you can catch them. So it'd be your choice. You'd have to press tab. Say like they have Nasus, Jarvan, and Brom, and they're all stacking armor. So they have 3 people who are stacking armor. Black Cleaver would be the better idea in that case, because you'd need to clear through them in team fights and stuff. So example of a full build would be, for example, in that situation, I don't know, would be a Hydra, Black Cleaver, Ionians, Last Whisper, BT, and possibly a GA or something like that. But yeah, those are just some situations. Your core build on Riven, as you can see on screen, as I've sort of kind of gone over, is Hydra, Youmuu's, Black Cleaver, Ionian Boots, Last Whisper, and a GA. Obviously, I haven't filled in 6 items because that 6th item is normally situational. Even a GA may not be the item that you want to go for, because it's mainly normally Hydra, Youmuu's, or Black Cleaver, Ionian Boots, and Last Whisper. Those 4 items, the first 4 items in the core build, are what you want to have almost every single game. The GA is completely optional, but it is part of the core if you do need it. Say if you reach late game and you're being focused, you do need a GA. Then of course you've got optional items, so the 6th item could be a BT. If you're really having trouble against sort of surviving, you need to lifesteal, or you just need more damage. Randuins if you're being focused by, say, ADs. Banshees if there's one ability that just keeps messing you up. Say like Veigar has, like it's Veigar and he has a stun, you can get Banshees. But then also against high CC or 1 CC that's screwing you up, Mercurial Scimitar QSS is an absolutely amazing item, which is that green scimitar, the scimitar with the green aura. It is absolutely amazing. It removes all CC on you at 1 point and gives you a movement speed boost. That is what go-to item if you're ahead and they have a lot of CC, or just 1 CC that's screwing you over every team fight. Against AP, more of Malmortalus. Hex Drinker is what this builds from, so Hex Drinker into more of Malmortalus. But this item, as I said in most of AP matchups like Kennen, Lissandra, Ryze, Vladimir, you will get this item late game. You will get Hex Drinker early and then build it into more of Malmortalus late game because of their AP. Say if they have a double AP with high CC comp, you might go as the example full builds. The second one there is Hydra, Black Cleaver, Ionian Boots, Last Whisper, Maw, and a Mercurial Scimitar. That is what you will get if you're against a high AP, high CC team. You may even trade out the Mercurial Scimitar for a GA. What I would recommend is for lower level and lower elo Riven players is to buy a GA instead. The reason why I would say buy a GA instead is because it does give you the armor and the magic resist, or even get a Banshees, either a Banshees or a GA. The reason why I say that is because if you go in and die, you come back alive. Say, because you need to time and watch your champion for when you're hit by CC, and you need to instantly cleanse that. And if you're not very good with the QSS or Mercurial Scimitar, you may miss the opportunity, or you may use it too late or use it too early. So either practice with it and get better at it, or just go for Banshees or GA. Against heavy armor stacking, Black Cleaver, as I've already explained. Optional items, gone through those. Against AP, more Malmortalus, high CC, you've got the Mercurial Scimitar and QSS. So, itemization. What you want to do is you want to press tab, look at what people are building. If they've got 4 squishies and 1 tank, right, and the tank is top lane, and you're completely dunking on the tank, you're 4-0 in lane, there is no need to build any, like, there's no need to build Last Whisper until like 5th item. You might as well go Hydra, Youmuu's, Ionians, BT, because no one on their team has any armor, and the tank that's meant to be building armor hasn't got any because he's been completely shut down. So by having Hydra, Youmuu's, Ionians, and Bloodthirster, BT, you have a crap ton of damage, and you can kill people really quickly. So you need to look at the situation of the game, who's building what, and then you need to judge whether buying certain items or what you need to do. So, they have this person on their team and he just keeps killing me because he keeps slowing me, he keeps knocking me up. He keeps, like, if it's a knock-up, Banshees, because you can't QSS a knock-up. If it's like a stun or a snare, like if Morgana keeps on snaring you and you're getting really annoyed, you might want to get a QSS, because as soon as she snares you, you can use your QSS and then you can continue your combo. It's just, you need to look at the champions on the enemy team, look at who's building what on the enemy team, and then itemize against what they're doing. So heavy armor stacking, Black Cleaver, they have a lot of AP champions, more of Mortalus. High CC, you either want to get a Banshees or you want to go for a Mercurial Scimitar. If they're focusing you a lot, GA. If their AD is fed and you need some armor, you can get a Randuin's. There's a lot of items you can get in this game, and some of them are not even on this list because they're not optimal items for Riven, but they do work. Say Trinity Force, that works, but it's not optimal. Blade of the Rune King, it works, but it's not optimal. That's why I have not listed those in this list, because they are not optimal items on Riven. They work, but they're not the best items. So I guess that's it. That's itemization. That's all the matchups. It's a pretty long episode. So yeah, let's move on to the outro. So episode 7 done, guys. Episode 7 is finished. That's the Riven guide done. What I'm probably going to do is I'm probably going to do a second season going over each matchup individually, because I only went over each matchup about a minute, maybe 2 in this video. So there were quite a lot of matchups, like 30, I think almost 30 matchups, I think, in the video that I just did. I'm going to be doing a second season going over every matchup in top lane, so people can have a more in-depth understanding on how to play the lane. Because I know some people may be thinking, but I don't know how to do this against this champion, but I don't know how to do this against this champion. I apologize if I didn't mention those things in this episode. As I said, I will be doing a more in-depth guide of each matchup in a second series. I'll be putting those on my channel, which is on the screen now. It's www.youtube.com/official Tyzzer. Make sure you go there, subscribe to that, check that out. I put all my highlights and stuff from my Twitch. I put all of my, if I do a playthrough or something of a game, I put all those on there. Yeah, I'll be putting all my highlights. I'll put all of my future guides and stuff on that channel. So as I said, make sure you go and check that out, guys. Yep, got my Twitch. Don't forget to check that out. Don't forget to check that out. www.twitch.tv/Lord Tyzzer. Again, guys, thank you for watching my video. I'll probably see you in the next series. See you on the Rift.